The Palos Verdes Peninsula is just such an amazing, unique place. The rolling hills, the stunning bluffs, it just sets the character for the peninsula.
One of the reasons that my wife and I moved to the peninsula back in 1974 was the fact that there was open space here, but it was going away. And so in 1988 then, we actually pulled together a small group of residents to see if we could preserve some of the land on the peninsula.
For the past 35 years, the Land Conservancy has worked with willing sellers, a wide range of funders, and with broad community support to acquire what we now have as 1,600 acres of open space throughout the peninsula.
The Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy has a unique opportunity to preserve and actually restore a very special coastal area.
The Land Conservancy has worked to acquire this 96-acre parcel as a wildlife corridor. And it's the last big piece of open space here on the coastal Palos Verdes Peninsula. We're only able to do this with the tremendous support of all of our financial partners. We received the largest grant in the nation last year from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We've also received support from the state's Wildlife Conservation Board, the Los Angeles County Regional Park and Open Space District, and in partnership with the City of Rancho Palos Verdes, as well as members of the community, we are excited to raise funds needed for the creation of a wildlife corridor. And as we're purchasing this wildlife corridor, we need to restore it.
So to bring these lands back to what they once were, it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of research. We're recreating the wildlife corridor that once existed out here.
The peninsula used to be a haven of native habitat, and over time that habitat's been destroyed due to development. And there are so many species on the peninsula that rely on the native plants for their survival. We have the Palos Verdes blue butterfly. It's the rarest butterfly in the world, and it only exists here on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. We have the El Segundo blue butterfly, which is an endangered species. We have burrowing owls and a host of other owls and hawks. There are some critical songbirds that are threatened or endangered that include the California gnatcatcher and the cactus wren.
Each one of these species has historically existed out here. Their habitat has been degraded over time. A lot of the issues are invasive plants. We remove those non-native species.
We'll be bringing in goats to eat mustard and fennel and acacia. They could do an acre a day.
And we will start to plant, either with seeds or direct plants. And these plants will start to heal the land. The upland areas that have a lot of habitat that are part of the preserve, those areas will now be connected to the coastal areas. We're helping wildlife to move back and forth with the native plant species that they've adapted to. These native plants typically mitigate issues of drought and fire risk. They're not as flammable, and they have deep taproot systems.
The state of California has shown its leadership in conservation and has proclaimed that by 2030, they will work to preserve 30% of the state's open space to support biodiversity. Here locally, we're an example of how that state initiative is coming into practice in the Palos Verdes Peninsula.
30 by 30 is the mandate and the goal, to preserve and protect over 30% of the state's lands.
If we hadn't done what we started in 1988, this land above us was actually slated for development. That's true of most of the property around here.
It's a real privilege to be where we are today, and we only got here because of the generations before us. And so it's our responsibility now going forward to carry on that legacy of conservation.
This is such a special area, and everyone who lives here feels that way. And we feel how fortunate we are to be here. Every day I say that. The air just is different here. I call it paradise on earth.
We're not just doing this restoration work for the wild animals, for the plants. No, it's for the people too, to enjoy it and to protect it. If people don't care about this land, then it doesn't get protected into generations to come. So we want people to take ownership of this land, to care about it, to learn from it, and also to become the next stewards of the land.
Together, we can strengthen natural lands, preserve outdoor beauty and enjoyment, reduce fire risks, and protect wildlife all across the peninsula. But we can't do it alone. Be a part of saving the peninsula before it's too late. We need your help in every way that you are able and willing. Become a member of the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy and make your contribution to protecting the peninsula's natural lands. Please tell your family, friends, and neighbors that we need their help too. To To protect the peninsula, it will require each of us to go wild.
Go wild for the peninsula.
Go wild for the peninsula.
Go wild for the peninsula.
Go wild for the peninsula.